Yeah, I did have a question. It was, what is the hardest thing for males about communicating vulnerably to their
Mm.
woman?
Oh,
Um,
go ahead, Alfred.
I think what's hard about being vulnerable is coming off as weak, is coming off as
Yep.
somebody that cannot provide.
Yep.
And if I'm vulnerable, I now come across as, you know, lack of a better term, a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, I
Hmm.
don't want to seem like a bitch. So I just don't, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of just mask it and try to be as like macho as you can. But you, I don't
Mm,
know. I've realized that that's not the way to go. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of like me. That's what I was saying earlier. Like, I was very, I don't, I guess my emotions, I don't know how to like to talk them through. I'm not, I don't know how to explain my emotions out. It comes off like,
mm,
bleh, you know what I mean? But I can't understand them mentally. And I feel like when I try to talk to them, I can't get my point across or whatever. And so I just kind of just, I like don't deal with it. You know what I mean? And I don't
mm,
really, I kind of just move on to the next logical thing rather than actually opening up. And I think that's like a really big reason why a lot of guys are just put off into sharing that about themselves. Cause like we want you to see us, but I don't want you to see me. You know what I mean? I don't want you. I want you to see that I'm a winner. I don't want you to see me as a loser.
mm.
I
Hey,
feel like
Jenny,
Interesting.
Jenny, I do want to ask you, when you say vulnerable, what does that mean? Like, what does that entail? What does that mean?
I mean, exactly like what Alfred just said about being seen, about actually being seen for all the things. Like, so many guys
again,
don't want to talk about who they really are. They don't want to talk about how they actually feel. Yet they're trying to expect this relationship to be so big and beautiful,
Hmm.
but they're not willing to contribute to the relationship on an emotional level.
Hmm.
And, wanting their woman to give them that level of emotional vulnerability, that level of spiritual vulnerability, mental vulnerability, sexual, physical, all of those things.
Hmm.
It's not always reciprocated. And so my question was like, why?
I have some thoughts on this. Let me just hold up. I have some notes. I got my notes here.
hey.
I knew this question was coming up, so you know what I'm saying?
Well, to get some comments in the Facebook as well, like from any of the men that are watching. Like
All
it'll
right,
be
so
really cool to have some of you guys drop in what you think it is that makes it
uh,
so good about
all right, so okay, there we
opening
go.
up.
I got my notes ready. Ready,
One.
ready, ready for
Tell
this
us how
shot.
it is.
No, it's not. Nothing. It's not. No, it's it. There's a couple things. Number one, you have to also. I know in the beginning of our podcast, I did mention about biology, right? Of men and women that we are different and we have different inherent traits. So, as men, we're more masculine because women are more feminine. So for women, you guys are more inward. You guys are focused on your emotions, but for men, we're more because we're masculine and how we are. We're more. We don't express from the inside. We just express. We're just more on the outside. We focus more on the outside and things. And also number two, you got to also think about society and the social constructs that we grow up in society and the culture we grow up in. What do they say? What Alfred said: if you express your emotions, then you are what?
Weak.
Weak. So this is something that we hear from ever since we were born as men. That if you are emotional, if you are vulnerable, if you are not stable mentally, then you are seen as a weak man. And unfortunately, there's a lot of women out there that if they do see that within a man, that's something that's unattractive to them. And that's the reality. I've seen a lot of women say that, oh, that guy is too emotional. I can't fuck with that guy. That guy is too weak. That guy is too unstable. And I've seen it. This is coming from women as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you just got to take that in consideration. Um, and like I said, especially in the Polynesian culture, we don't have
Mm,
open conversations with our parents. I don't know if you
mm.
guys grew up with your parents, but when have we ever had an open relationship and open communication with our parents? I never had that growing up.
That's tough. It's
Mm.
sometimes it's a little
So
cringy.
yeah, exactly. So like if we didn't even have that with our own parents, how can we have that with you with you? So
But also, I think, you keep going back to the caveman age thing.
yeah.
I think it's really important as well to remember that we're still evolving right now, and we're definitely in a transition time.
Yeah.
Where this is the time for all of our men right now. This is the perfect time for men to start opening up and to start transitioning into a new phase where the men do get vulnerable, where the men do talk about emotions. Like, it's all good and everything to talk about, my parents didn't give me this, my parents didn't do that, and those were the seeds that were planted for you. Those were the seeds that were planted for you and your beliefs, but it doesn't mean that it can't be changed. And I think the more that we keep staying stuck on this belief that this is what my parents taught me and this is how it should be, it's just going to keep continuing. And I feel like we keep using it as an excuse, especially in the Polynesian community. But I know 100% for sure that there are so many beautiful men out there right now that are doing differently, that are showing up vulnerably, that are willing to talk about all of these things, because they know that they are the creators of the next generation. And if they start making these changes now, their children are going to learn from them and their children after that. So as much as we keep saying, this is what my parents taught me, I think there's so much responsibility on us right now as a beautiful, massive generation. We've got social media, we've got all of these beautiful things, podcasts to help us to actually start making those changes instead of using it as an excuse. Like, use it as the reason, the driving force as to why we should start opening up and why we should start having all of these conversations. And that's how I feel about it.
The one thing I would say, and I will kind of push back on what you said, because like I mentioned before, I do believe that in any healthy family, there has to be a balance, right? Feminine and masculine, right? I feel like that's why it's good for them. And that's why men are more, we're more on the outside. You guys are more focused on the inside. And I feel like in a healthy relationship, one has to balance out another. Like, both parents can't be too emotional. I feel like the man has to be the rock. He has to be the solid foundation, and then the woman has to be the one. I'm not saying he has zero intimacy. But I'm just saying is, for most men, for most guys, there's only very few selective guys out there that are gonna have that actually have the skills to communicate effectively to you. But most guys you're gonna meet, the general population, most of the guys don't have that skill. But I do believe just because they don't have that skill doesn't mean it's unhealthy. It's because I believe in the biology that in a relationship that the guy has to be that rock, that regardless of what happens, the family's up and down, struggles, he's always going to keep that rock and keep that the struggle in himself. Because if a guy is, if I grew up, I remember with my dad, he was very, like, I barely saw his emotions. And then that kind of helped me as a man that when I go through life, when I face struggles, I didn't get emotionally, I didn't respond emotionally to a lot of the challenges I went through in life. I saw my dad as a rock. I became that rock within my own life because I saw that in my family. I do believe that if my dad told me that emotional aspect of it, then I would be emotional every single time something bad happened in my life. But that's where my mom came in. So my dad gave me that rock, that masculine energy, but then my mom was there for me, gave me that feminine love and energy, but I needed that balance. And I feel like if two parents are both emotional, too vulnerable, I feel like it's not good. But also, and I just want to add something out there. There was a study that was done here in America, and they asked a lot of women what they really wanted. They asked, would you want a guy that's caring, that's kind, that's emotional, that's intimacy, or would you want a guy that's actually? Let me give you guys this test real quick. I want to ask you. So I'm gonna give you guys two guys. I want you guys to pick. I want you guys to be honest and be honest with this. I'm gonna have two guys, and you can only select these two guys, and these are the guys that you gotta marry hypothetically for the rest of your life. All right. Okay, one guy. Okay, so, and of course, you have to tie it to real life. This is the guy that he is gonna support you. This is the guy that's gonna be financially gonna be the man to support you and pay for you. But this is gonna be his traits. So don't just give us the fantasy the fantasy answer. Give us the real life answer. Tie it to real life. All right.
Are you giving us a start question though? Because I feel like the questions that are coming through are like it's not a temporary thing, and a lot of things is like everything's so temporary.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm just gonna give you.
Say, someone's financial situation is gonna stay stuck for the rest of my life, because fuck that. Like
No.
Like no one's gonna keep me confined for nothing. Like I'd rather stay single, bitch. Like
no. I'm just saying.
I'd rather stay single. If someone's gonna say
Yeah.
the same for the rest of my motherfucking life, because I'm not even gonna say the same for my
I got
fucking
you.
life. No, like
No, so I'm gonna give you guys two guys, right? And these are the traits they have, and I want you guys to give me these are the two guys. Say you're this is the only two guys left in this world, win the world, and you have to pick these two guys. and you're gonna do the life of these guys, right? All right,
the two guys, it's gonna be one's got a big one and one's got a small one. Don't give me nothing else. I'm taking the big one.
All right, both,
you don't gotta talk.
Both,
you don't have to.
Give me the big or the small one. Which one?
Both,
that's the real tea. That's the real tea,
both are the same. Both are the same.
Then after that, it doesn't matter. There's only two left.
Okay, both are the same. I'm gonna get, but for the sake of the test, I'm gonna give you guys two guys, and then let me know which one you're gonna pick, and be honest with this. Be honest. All right. First guy, this is guy number one. Unconditional love, understanding, nurturing, tenderness, kindness. All right, that's guy number one. Guy number two, confidence, inner strength, responsibility, focus, logical. Which one do you pick?
I'm gonna let you guys go first. Go ahead, lady.
Huh?
I like second.
All right.
But like my thing is like why do they like the other?
Okay, go ahead. Jani, one or two?
One.
Okay. Alfred?
I'm gonna pick two.
All right. So the reason why I gave you that, there was a study that was done. They asked this question to like thousands of women, and do you know which majority of these women, which one did they pick?
Number one.
Two.
Or two.
Yeah, because you fucking explained a woman in number one.
Huh? but what is being vulnerable? What is that? What kind of trait is that? Right? That's a
feminine.
Feminine
I see
trait.
what you said. It painted a different picture.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying is I do understand that you guys want your men feminine, but the thing is, as much as you want the man to be emotional, but when it comes to the overall picture of being attracted and the type of man you want, most women will select the confident, strong man over the vulnerability, and then the guy that's more vulnerable. Because I do believe that if you're too emotional,
that's why they were getting divorced.
If you're too emotional, if you're too emotional with a woman, she's gonna lose that respect because somebody needs to be the rock, somebody needs to be that foundation.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Will. But the thing is like what we're saying is vulnerability when it matters. Don't have to fucking cry a river. Like the thing is with divorces that are happening now is because the men weren't vulnerable enough to speak when they needed to. When they fucking needed to. It's not about like cry me a river, oh my god, my feet hurt, oh my god, like fuck yes, absolutely, that would piss me off. No, it's like, take again, my husband, he didn't communicate his needs when he needed to. He didn't want to show that vulnerability, but he should have, because we could have fixed this ages ago. That's where it's toxic, and that's where it becomes immature masculine energy. There is a thing with having a higher masculine energy and a very immature one, and the immature one does not know when to communicate their needs, their wants, what they need in a relationship, right? That's vulnerability, because now you need to now communicate with your feminine, with your spouse, what you need. And sometimes men are so scared of rejection that they're not going to do it, so they'll just go and fucking look for it elsewhere, and that's where it's not all good. And one thing I will say is in New Zealand, we have one of the highest rates for suicide, especially with our young males, because they do not know how to feel safe with their feelings. And that shit, like, we need to speak about it, especially our poly community. Our males don't want to speak about their feelings because we're so freaking like, you need to be hard, you need to be the man, you need to be freaking like masculine. When we're crying as kids, we're told to suck it up. That's so fucking toxic, because you get to an adult state and you're like, you don't even know how to handle your feelings. You don't even know how to express your love. And that's not all good. Yes, be masculine. We love that. That's fucking amazing. I love a masculine man. I'm not saying my man's not masculine. I fucking am so attracted to masculine men. What I'm saying is that when you need to communicate what the fuck you need and want in your relationship, you need to do it.
Yeah,
don't hide it because you feel weak. Like we should have this safe space between us. Like, why can we not have that thing happen? And it's like we all have masculine and feminine energy. It's allowing us to be balanced out at the times when we need to do that. It's like, you're not always masculine. You absolutely cry too. And I'm not always feminine. I can hold my shit myself. I can make my own money. I can build my own empire. But I actually want you there. I want you to hold me. I want you to make me feel good. I want you to tell me I'm beautiful. Like, it's such a beautiful balance when we just understand when the masculine energy needs to come out in a feminine, or when feminine energy needs to come out in a male. And it's like, it's not that you're weak. You just, you get to have that safe space with people to speak your feelings, especially with especially in New Zealand with our males, our poly males. Like, we have such a high suicide rate with our Polynesian and Māori males here because they just don't know how to deal with their feelings. And if we're telling them to suck it up, that's not going to work.
Yeah. Jani, do you have something to say?
Nah, everything that Shinarah said is so true, especially on just needing, the balance. It's all about balance. We all have feminine and masculine energies, and males don't believe that. They're like, fuck off. Like, if I'm feminine, then no one's going to like me. But everyone has both energies, and it's just about accepting it and acknowledging it and understanding that they both work together. You don't have to be masculine all the time. Your woman doesn't want you to be the manly man all the time, because she still needs that softness. She still needs you to listen. She wants you to cry when you need to cry, and you holding it in isn't going to help you. And that's what we're so stuck on believing. We're stuck on believing I have to be the man all the time. I have to be tough all the time. And the moment that I let down those walls, my woman's going to walk away. But how? No, she's not going to walk away. She's going to be so grateful that you were willing to allow yourself to be seen by her, and for you to both share that space together. So everything that Shinarah said was on point. We really just need to remember that the balance needs to be there all the time, and it's always fluctuating. It's always going up and down. But your woman wants to be able to hold you too, just the way that you hold her. It works together. Like, we have to reciprocate everything and not just expect to be giving, and then not also receiving that emotional support as well. So yeah, everything works together.
I think it's a weird energy to feel when you first accept it. And I feel like that's why a lot of guys don't do that, because when a lot of guys show that, side of them, like for me personally, when I started showing myself emotionally, I felt awkward. I felt weird. It was weird. But after you get through that initial hump, then, you know what I mean? Like, it becomes like a regular thing, right? It becomes normal. But I think it's just getting through that first hump, the first time you let it through, it's so tough. It's tough to stomach that. It's really tough to stomach. And it's like swallowing your pride, and especially with a lot of polys, like polys are super prideful. And I think it's like, you got to swallow your pride. You got to take one for the team and let it out. You know what I mean? And then after you feel seen, like I was saying earlier, I feel like it's like being seen naked for the first time, and you're just like awkward. You know what I mean? But then after, it gets better. It gets better. You just got to go through it. It's like a roller coaster ride. Like, whew, you got to go through it. Yeah,
I mean, for me, it's just, I know you guys want that guy to be vulnerable, but it's just something. The one thing I would say is it's easy because only guys know what that means when you become emotional. Even for me, when I do try to be vulnerable, there's something within me that doesn't feel right, and it has nothing to do with insecurity. It's just like we talked about before. It's like we just have this inherent nature as a masculine man that we have to be strong, and it has nothing. It's just I can't explain it to you guys. This is how men feel.
Yeah, it's like a feeling in your.
We have this feeling that we want to be strong, and this is how we're like. It's inherent. It's innate within us. So it's not like we don't want to be vulnerable to you. It's just there's this feeling within us that that it doesn't feel right. Even if I do open up, I feel like there's a part of my manhood, and it has nothing to do with you. It's just something that men know. If you're a man, you know this. That there's this feeling that if we're too vulnerable, there's something that's missing, or there's the strength that within us that we lose, and that's why we don't prefer to open up to you. And that's why I come down to like it's our biology. It's just how we are as men. Of course, can we work on it? Yes, of course we have to build on top of that. We have to put in a lot of work. But all I'm saying is just it's easier said than done. I had to put in a lot of work. I had to put in a lot of work for me to be vulnerable and for me to open up. Like I'm talking about like reading books. I'm talking about going to seminars. I had to put in a lot of work and to be vulnerable. And I know for a fact that there's only a small percentage of men like me or like Alfred that are actually willing to put in the work to go against their own masculine nature.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm bringing this up because the reality is most of the men you're gonna meet are gonna have this, are gonna be like this.
Exactly.
And for me,
that's what we change.
Yeah.
Especially for our young. And you know what? It's not even about your masculine, that you feel like you're going about your masculine energy. If you were brought up in an environment where you were taught to feel, to express, then this wouldn't be alien to you. But because we're not growing up in those spaces. So because it feels, absolutely for a lot of males, it does, because they haven't grown up feeling safe doing that. We've all been repeating cycles, right? We've all been repeating cycles, generational cycles. So how do you cut that? You be the change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The one thing I would say is like, even the amount of work I've done on myself to improve that, I still feel uncomfortable. So I feel this is my perspective on. I feel like it's just an inherent nature for guys that this is how we're gonna be, and I feel like that's not gonna change. Of course, we have to improve it because I do understand that for a lot of you guys want us to communicate. I do believe in communication. So, but asking a guy to be totally vulnerable to you, I'm telling you, like there's a difference between vulnerability and communication. Like you just want the guy to communicate, right? To communicate with you, how he's feeling, if there's struggles or something, what do you need? So you guys can feel that communication, right? So communication is something that we can improve as men for all the men out there. But if you're asking guys to be vulnerable, to go against their masculine nature, I just don't, because for me, I'm still, even with all the skills I learned to be vulnerable and to communicate, I still feel that something, like when I do it, I'm going against my own nature. And that has nothing to do, I've already moved on the social constructs of my upbringing. I already let that go. I've moved past behind that. I just feel like that like being a man and being masculine is just, we're just built to keep it in, and we're built to be that rock. But we have to communicate. You're important. You're right. We have to communicate to you, and that's what a healthy relationship is. But I just feel like for most of the men out there, that just because I just don't want the guys that are like this to feel like, okay, if I'm not vulnerable, then she's not gonna love me. I just don't want guys to feel like they go against their own nature. Yeah.
What do you actually, I think we're speaking vulnerability, two different things, because what do you think we're asking you when we're saying that we need that vulnerability? Because I don't understand what you're saying. I know it's a complete different language, but I think you've got what we're saying a little bit wrong. We're not asking you to speak about your feelings when you don't feel like it. That's not what we're saying. It's like we're asking you to be vulnerable when you need to. And when I say need to, it's like when you're feeling like I may be not bringing what I need to the table, are you comfortable enough to have that conversation with me, to open up and say what the fuck you need? That's vulnerability. And if you can't, there's no fucking relationship, because that communication's gone.
Okay, this is the thing. Like for you guys, it's so like that's natural for you, because you guys can just come to us, hey, this is what's going on, and lay all that on us. Right? Yeah. But for us, we're not built that way. Like we're not, like I wouldn't just come to you, hey, I had to tell you all the things I'm going through at work. Like it's just not in me. If you ask me, I will tell you. I'll communicate it with you. And that's what I'm saying is, for guys are like, it's not like in our nature to come home, hey honey, and give you all the stuff I went through in that life. Like we're just built
that's
to like.
That's not what we're asking you to do.
But what do you like? But you
Yeah,
just
I
say
just
like
said
you
what
want to. You
you're
just
not
said that
listening.
be vulnerable. You said be vulnerable. Just tell you if you're going through shit, right?
No. I hope you replay this.
Okay, go ahead. Say it one more time. Say it one more time. Say it one more
No,
time.
I said vulnerability needs to come when we need it. The relationship needs it. I've given my experience in terms of my relationship. My husband should have communicated his needs in our relationship, maybe what I was lacking for him. So he needs something, right? He needs me to maybe fulfill freaking kinks or like whatever the fuck it is. Like if you cannot communicate your needs to your partner, what do you need in this relationship? And because if you're going to go and get it elsewhere, like that's toxic. Like it's not coming home and telling me everything that happened. That's not it. Vulnerability needs to happen when the relationship needs it. So if something's happening in the relationship and you're not feeling like, say we're in a relationship and maybe you're now not happy with me because I don't know, and so you go and seek it elsewhere because you're not communicating it, but you're going to stay in this relationship. That's where it's like, nah, you need to be vulnerable with your spouse and you need to say what you need in that relationship. And then that's like that's the vulnerability, not the fucking come home and freaking talk about everything. No, that shit would bore me too.
So it said that, but do you feel like that's a separate issue besides vulnerability? Because your husband there was something that that you needed in a relationship, right? So obviously there was something within him that he had an issue with. So that's something you guys have to fix, right?
No, yeah. So like it's not just him. There's a lot of males that like maybe they're not expressing what they want in that relationship. They're not expressing it. They don't know how to express it. They're just going to accept the woman for who she is and what she brings, even if they want more in that relationship, whether it's sexually, whether it's emotionally. Maybe you need me to be more loving towards you if I'm like not like that right now. Maybe you need me to satisfy you in a certain way so you don't go looking for it elsewhere, but you're not going to communicate it with me because you don't know how. That's the vulnerability that needs to happen.
Yeah, I think with that, I think it's the fear of losing you. I think that's a really big. I think you said it earlier. It's like the fear of losing somebody with being 100% real with them and like explaining your kink. Like if you're into something and you want to be loved this certain way or you want to be rubbed this certain way, sometimes speaking about it, I run the chance of losing you and you thinking that because I'm into this, you're going to be completely turned off. You know what I mean? And that's why I feel like guys kind of hide that, because I feel like a lot of guys that I know have this weird kink about them that they like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like they like it. You know what I mean? Some guys like the finger, other guys like some other stuff. You know what I mean? So I mean, like, but they don't exactly. You know what I mean? But it's like I'm not trying to let you know that about me because I don't want you to think I'm weird or I don't want to lose you. You know what I mean? And especially if you've been with somebody for so long, if you've been with somebody for 9 years and you tell them that you're into something, sometimes you have a lot more to lose. You know what I mean? There's a lot more on the line to let you know what I mean? And so because there's so much on the line, I'm just not going to tell you. You know what I mean? I'm going to just, figure it out on my own. And I think I feel like I'm kind of like that. You know what I mean? But I'm getting to a point where I can be open and vulnerable to speak about stuff like that. But like, it's just still kind of weird for me. You know what I mean? Which when it comes around, I got a couple questions that that I want to touch back on this kind of subject. But like I said, I think that even goes back. This kind of goes back to what Will was saying. You know what I mean? It's like a really hard pill to swallow when you let somebody in on your most vulnerable, kink.
Yeah. And I also believe like I said before, it's like it's just I can't explain it to you guys because like for when I talk with women, you guys just like naturally just open. It's natural for you guys to open and be open, but for us, it's just like even I have to force myself, even if I know that they want it, and I can't explain it to you. It's just a guy thing.
Yeah.
All the guys
I'm
out there.
second that. I'm gonna second that because
I can't explain it to you. I can't
it.
explain it to you. I can't explain it to you
I
guys
feel
unless
it.
you're a guy that even as much as I want to love you and as much as I care about you, it's just really hard for me to open up because like I said, I feel like it's a biological thing. So even if there is a guy out there that's healthy that loves you, he may not open up to you. And I just feel like it's not because he doesn't want to, not because he doesn't love you. It's just as a guy, it's just something about it that when you open up, it just feels weird.
I feel like it brings anxiety. It makes anxiety. You anxious. It makes guys.
I feel a lot better just keeping it to myself.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Or Alfred, I feel a lot better either I keep it to myself or I share it with other guys.
Yeah,
and they understand it. And they get it.
You share with the boys. You share with
the boys.
The little things are into.
They get it. I'm telling you, like
you're like rejoiced. It's all like
if we share it to you, and I'm telling you, it's not on purpose. It's not like we're not doing it to mess up the relationship. We're not doing it to try to lose you. I'm just speaking from the experience. Like it's just a feeling that we feel as soon as we open that up. It's just weird. It's weird.
You know what though? Uncomfortability is where expansion and growth is, though.
I'm telling you, I agree with you.
You guys are like avoiding it.
No, I give you guys a perfect example.
There's so many things that women feel uncomfortable doing, but fuck, we're gonna do it.
But that's true. You're a woman. You're a woman.
It's a pride thing for males. For guys, I really wanted to say that. You know what I mean?
It's like you guys. It's like you guys trying to explain pregnancy to us. Like you can't. I can't understand it because only you can be pregnant. Like go through that.
And then emotionally go through that.
Yeah, I can't. No matter how much you explain, like I can never understand it of what you guys go through. And I feel like when it comes to like being vulnerable, it's just a weird feeling.
I feel like women have their tolerance of pain and stuff that they go through is a lot higher than males. You know what I mean? It's just because like women, after women get their cycle of the month, you know, they feel all these 100 levels. You know what I mean? 0 to 100 real quick, and like you guys do that on the regular, so you guys can regulate that pain and that energy. But for us, it's not a regular thing for us to regulate emotional pain. You know what I mean? Like, and so that's why I feel like it's tough to swallow that.
I love that.
It's tough to swallow.
No, I love you guys. Just do it. I'm telling you, I would do it if I could.
Yeah. Mentally, I agree with you. Emotionally,
but there's something in here. Yeah. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is.
My 6th chakra house is not opening.
What's the 8th gate? The 8th gate. I can't open the 8th gate. If I open it, I die. I can only open 7 gates.
Oh my gosh.
That's anime, if you guys don't know. All the anime fans out there, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Let's go.
Anyways, thanks you for the questions. But we are gonna go to the guys. I know it's already 12. Do you guys want to do this? Continue on for one more hour? Is that cool?
1 more hour? No, yeah, all good.
Oh, delete. Let me delete. Go ahead.
Can I just jump in about that last one though? I think it's such a massive topic, but me personally, I have a lot of male friends, and they are all so willing to communicate some really deep stuff. And I feel like when you find people that you feel so safe with and so secure with, that you will actually get to that level where you can be vulnerable. And so I don't want to like assume anything, but for you guys, I feel like it hasn't quite come yet, and that's okay. You just haven't quite come across this person that you are willing to crack yourself open to, because they do exist. And I have so many beautiful males in my life who they are in relationships as well with women, and they are just so beautiful and so willing to speak their truth and not even sharing, you know, things that are really deep. But for a male, because, you know, for a male, the things that we can talk about is so cool. And like, I really appreciate that. And I think it's really healing for males to get to that level where you can open up to a female about the way that you feel about your emotions and that. So I know you keep going back to this whole biological thing, but that's at the end of the day, it's a choice. You choose whether or not you're willing to open. It's a choice. And you're already making the face now because you're saying, no, I'm not going to make that choice.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it is so freaking healing when you do open up those floodgates. And when you do a lot more inner work, you will honestly come to a space where you can be that open. And then your relationships will just flourish on a whole new level. So
No,
this
I
is
totally,
personal experience. Yeah.
no, I totally believe it is a choice. All I'm saying is it's not a choice as hard, as easy as it seems, as you guys explained it.
It's
absolutely
not easy.
amazing.
Not easy.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely, it's not easy.
Yeah, yeah. So, and also one thing I have noticed, and maybe Alfred, you can speak on this. I do realize that I have improved as far as my being vulnerable as I got older.
Yeah, I
So,
definitely feel that.
Yeah.
Like,
So
I
if
said
you,
earlier,
so
I'm grown.
yeah. So yeah, if you're expecting guys to be vulnerable at 18, 19, 20, yeah, good luck.
Yeah, we don't. But
No. Just for everybody out there, everybody out there. I just learned that over time, over experience. I just through life, it just allowed me to grow as an individual. But I do realize that the younger guys, the younger generation, everybody out there, it is a struggle. So keep working, you guys. Work on yourself, grow. And like I said, like all the ladies said, they said that they wanted that definitely helps in the relationship, which I also believe as well. We should communicate and we should be open, vulnerable, especially what Shinarah said, when the relationship needs it, right? Relationship, because the ultimate goal at the end of the relationship is we have to do whatever it takes to keep make it work. So if you have to be vulnerable, if you have to come out, and I know it's hard for all men and for men out there, but like I said, everything that's worthwhile is not going to be easy. It's supposed to be hard. But if you do make it work, it is beautiful for both men and women to get what they want and build a great relationship.